Yeah, I want to tell you a secret about those big Fundie Christian homeschool families. The ones who supported the Cheeto. I mean, they're not even all in homeschool circles now. A lot of them have vouchers to send their kids to private Christian schools, or they are taking over places like the Oklahoma and Texas public schools. But these families who often are quiverful, have a bunch of kids, conservative, evangelical, or LDS. And we knew of two families that were Catholic that were like this. I think a lot of Catholics are not, but both of those families attended a Latin mass, so I don't know if that, yeah, okay. So I want to say, as an ex-Presbyterian PCA homeschooling parent of more than a decade and a half, who continued to have relationships with very conservative homeschoolers, often with large families, long after we were going through deconstruction, and I'm still friends with some of those folks. I want to tell you something true about them. This commenter is correct. I can say, as someone who grew up Fundie, they've been told to be fruitful and multiply, and so many cannot feed their 12 kids without food stamps. The few who can are super condescending about it. Yeah, these folks are very much preaching self-sufficiency and shaming poor people who are on government assistance. They're very anti-government safety nets, very opposed to social welfare programs, vote for politicians who want to defund them. Those same folks, in my experience, in my community, they are 100% all using WIC. The vast majority use SNAP, food stamps, and lots of them are on Medicaid. Their kids are definitely on Medicaid, especially because a lot of them have husbands who are self-employed. A lot of them here are on OHP. That's the Oregon Health Plan. Their husband often goes without health insurance. This is back in the day when it was a little bit harder to get on OHP, but the wife could always qualify because she was pregnant. They definitely had all their kids on it. These are the same folks who think that socialism is a really scary word. They call other women welfare queens. They want welfare to work programs while they are stay-at-home moms. And we would all sit around like coffee hour at homeschool group, and we would talk about these things. Tips to maximize your WIC vouchers, reminding each other to sign up for the farmer's market vouchers. How could you get your kid into a pediatric dentist while they're on OHP? But this was just the other poors, right? If you were a poor mom, like our family, other folks would talk openly about this stuff with you. I took WIC. I worked for WIC. We were super broke and we needed it. And I would talk it up to other moms to make sure that they were enrolled, because that's what those programs are for: women, infants, and children. But at the same time, there was this partition in the homeschool community, in the Fundie community, in the Christian community. Even at my church, I noticed it. There were the haves and the have-nots, right? And those of us that were like the poor moms who didn't get invited to all of the cool things that the cool rich moms did. But we still would do mom's Saturday morning tea together. We would still do brunches together. There was a lot of social overlap. We didn't talk about the government assistance that everybody was on in front of the wealthy moms, because they were super condescending. The judgment, the shaming was far worse. In fact, there were a number of times I heard wealthy moms in our social circle being completely tone deaf, like they had no idea what we were up to. And so they would just love to make fun of these stereotypes of people that take public assistance. They're lazy, their husband should work harder, they don't know how to budget, maybe they should stop buying so much Starbucks. Or even more insidiously, maybe there's a reason the Lord is not blessing them as much as my family. Get a little bit of that prosperity gospel in there, right? It never really mattered what the Bible said about loving the poor, how blessed the poor are, how hard it is for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. There was always this layer of superiority of, if you had more financial resources, it's because God was blessing you. So you must be doing something right. And if you're struggling, well, maybe that's the sins of the Father being visited upon you. Maybe it's a chastisement for your own sin. Maybe the Lord is testing you for some reason, putting you through a trial. But more likely, it's something you're doing, it's your own fault. So yeah, as much as a lot of conservative, I have a dog coming to visit, as much as a lot of conservative Christian families act like they don't use these social programs, a lot of them do. They just don't want the wealthy, judgy ones in their community to know. And I think a lot of the reason that they vote in opposition to representatives who will fund those programs, they vote for folks who likewise shame and ridicule and want to do away with these programs, is they want to be seen as conforming, aligning themselves with folks in the community who have higher social status and are more socioeconomically secure and blessed. And in doing so, they are cutting off their nose to spite their face. They are hurting themselves and their children. And obviously they're being hypocritical because they are using programs that they judge other people for using, shame other people for using. And they would be happy to take those programs away from other people. All of this dynamic is extremely common in conservative homeschool circles and in much of evangelical conservative Fundie America.